I've just received a delivery from Australia Post, and it's from a company called Merlin Mosaica, and I have made one or two other video reviews on a couple of their products before, and I'll put a link down the bottom of the screen here in case you see something in this, and you can go to their online store and purchase it if you would like to. Now, like all my video reviews, they're based on my own personal opinion. The company doesn't have any input into what I say, and nor do they see the release of the video before anyone else. So what I'll do is I will go and unwrap this and we'll see what we have. Well, it's wrapped pretty good, or packaged pretty good. There's always one little piece that tends to hold it all up. Okay, here's a letter here, and I'll have a look at that momentarily. I'll take this out. Some beautiful colours. Gorgeous pieces. Oh, I love that blue. Earthy colours as well. I'm like a kid in a shop. I get really excited when I buy or when I see these beautiful pieces. Okay, what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go off camera, have a read up on what I've actually got here, and then we'll come back and I'll go through it with you. Well, these look really beautiful, and I love the colours. Now, what Merlin Mosaica has sent me is two different types of products, or similar products, but they're different in the way that this is the smoothie range and this is the satin range. Now, one thing I do really want to point out, and I'm kind of digressing here, is that I do love the labelling because it tells you the quantity of what's in the bag, but also the product name, and it's very easily seen. So what this allows you to do is, if you're like me and you tip your Tessera into clear containers, it allows you to take the label off and re-stick it onto the side of the container. Now, this makes it easy for when you're reordering products because you automatically know what the product is and the quantity that it comes in. Now, I wouldn't stick labels to the top of the lids or anything like that, because if you have a few containers out there and you're working with a few and you interchange lids, or they tend to, you know how you open up things and you get really excited and then you put the lids, you know, to the side. For instance, these two ranges, there's not a lot of difference in these, so you wouldn't want to get the labeling mixed up. So if you put it onto the side of the container and you've got Tessera in there, then that really makes it easy for reordering, because it's going to give you less of a chance to order the wrong product. But I digress, but I just thought that was mentioning because it may help someone out there. Now, both these ranges look really beautiful. Now, the satin range, which is this one here, is made from 100% recycled glass, and it's great for indoor or outdoor applications. Now, that includes pools and bird baths. Now, she also mentions floors, but like anything that you put on the floor in any tile, you would need to do your own due diligence. So I'm not saying that these are going to be suitable for your floors, but she does mention floors. But again, you really need to do some testing and research on that before start using them on your floors, because you really need to be careful of slippage. It's like adhesive. Do your own due diligence before, before just going ahead and using anything. Now, the smoothie range is also suitable for indoor or outdoor applications. Now, these are a glossy with a rounded edge on them, and both these are around about the 25mm size. So what we'll do is I will take these out of their bags off camera, and then we'll come back and we'll look at the beautiful colours that she sent me. Well, I must say these are even more beautiful out of the plastic bags. Now, one thing I do need to point out before I go further, and that is that each of the bags that you buy contain 20 pieces. So don't look at this range and go, oh, I only get 8 pieces of the purple ones. The rest of them are in the bag. It's just I didn't think it was necessary to put out all the quantities of each, because you do actually get 20 of each colour. Okay, now what we'll do is we'll go through the names of them, and some of these are quite creative names, so I may mispronounce them, but what I will do is I'll put the names at the bottom of the screen so that if you do want to order any of these and you go to the Merlin Mosaica website, you will have the name to go with them rather than my perhaps mispronunciation of it. So I'm sorry Merlin Mosaica if I do mispronounce the names. Okay, the first one that we'll look at is Mango Smoothie, and this is a very beautiful glossy orange. Now the next one is an absolutely stunning blue, I think. I really, really love this blue, and this is called, now here we go, this is my pronunciation of it. This one is called Balubula Smoothie, so Balubula, and that's absolutely stunning blue. Now this orange is certainly a lighter shade than the first one that we were talking about, and this one's called Dignam's Creek. And again, that's part of their smoothie range. Now this one here is a lovely green, and this one is Kwama Smoothie. So it's Kwama, it has a double A in it, so I presume I'm pronouncing it correctly. Now the next one is Berry, and it's again their smoothie range, it's lovely and glossy. The next one after that is Wheatgrass, and this is a beautiful lighter shade of green, and I really like this shade as well. The next one after that is Mogarika, and I've actually created a couple of pieces with this shade of purple, and it's lovely. Not this particular tile, but a number of years ago I used a similar colour, and I really do like that colour. Now this one here is one of my favourite greens, and I really do love this colour, and it's called Woolamla. So Woolamla, that's just a gorgeous green, it goes well with that one. Now that's the smoothie range, so there's 8 colours. Now the next one is the satin range, and there's 4 colours, and this one is Grafton Satin. And you know how sometimes when you're creating a mosaic and you want to use gloss because you really want to ramp up the bling factor, and other times you might want to create something a bit more subtle, and that's where the satin range really will come into its own. So this one's Grafton Satin. Now this one's a lovely red, it's a beautiful shade of red, and this is called Alinda, and that's Alinda Satin. This one is a very bright yellow, and this is Baham Satin. This one's a very vibrant blue, and this is Bronia Satin. Brunonia. I hope I've got that right. This one's a lovely green, and this is Hass. So there's the colours. Now what we'll do is we'll go into seeing how they cut, and we'll see how they perform cutting. Now the other thing I need to point out is that some of these have like a silicone plastic backing. Now you may be able to soak this off or leave them, but I will clarify before I finish this video, I will clarify with Merlin Mosaica as to whether you leave that or you actually take it off. I'm pretty sure you probably leave it on, but I'll clarify with them. And the same here with this mesh, I'll clarify on that as well. But normally with meshes on the back of tiles, you would leave them. But I will clarify that before this video is over with, because I'm sure that you may ask or have a question on what to do with the backings. Okay. I will now go off camera, put this aside, and we'll come back and we'll do some demo cutting. Now just quite quickly, what I was saying before about the backing on the tiles, I partially filled a bucket up with hot water. I added about 2 or 3 drops of dishwashing liquid, gave it a bit of a stir, and then I dropped these tiles into it. Now I left it for a minute, and then I pulled them out. Now what I did find was that the mesh came off these tiles very easily. However, when it came to these ones, the glue strips that are on these, it only softened the glue strips. It didn't remove them. So in the case of these, you could use them as is, or you could cut these up, which is not a big problem. But you would need to use probably some adhesive with a bit of substance to it, like as Merlin Mosaic has said, thin set. You might even be able to use Wellbond or Prep multi-use adhesive, anything that's got a bit of body in it, because if you have anything that's quite runny, you may find the tessera may not sit totally flat on your piece. So something with a bit of substance will help with that. But certainly it's not a big issue putting these into a bucket of hot water. I have to do that when I'm buying vitreous tiles that have a paper backing on, or other tiles with mesh, and I find that really works well. So I just thought I'd point that out because it may help someone out there. Okay, let's see how these cut. So what I'll do is I'll draw a circle on this one, because this is the satin range. And then I'll draw a circle on the gloss range. And what we'll do is we'll see how these cut, and also when we want to do a straight cut, we'll see how they go. So first I'll do the straight cut, and I'll use the gloss. And we'll see how well. Oh yeah, they cut beautifully. Yep, really, really nice. So if you're wanting to, cut some straight pieces or quarters, beautiful to cut. Now we'll try the satin range. And they're the same. So cutting wise, they cut beautifully. So let's now cut out a circle, and again we'll start off with the gloss range, and we'll see how this performs. And I also want to see how well it nips, because I know people can have trouble cutting circles, and then when it comes to finiting them, some tiles can take chunks off or fracture. So I really want to see how well these perform when you're nipping small pieces off like that. And I must say they are really good at nipping just small pieces off. If you want to finite that edge more, you just little nips. Look at that, absolutely beautiful. So there you go. Now we'll look at that on the satin range and see if these perform as well for cutting circles out. And I must say I don't need a huge amount of pressure when using these double-wheeled nippers. I mean, as we know, some tiles and some glass can be extremely hard, but these are actually really, really quite good. Maybe it's to do something with, because it's recycled glass, I have no idea, but they're really quite nice to cut shapes out of, and to also nip that finite shape that we like to have. Look at that, just taking very small pieces off, and it's handling it beautifully. And not all tessera can handle very small nips. So there you go, they work quite well. So anyone that has any difficulty in shaping or cutting tessera, you may find these work so much better for you, because they cut quite easily, and you can also nip them to a nice shape without taking chunks out of them. So anyway, I hope you've taken something away from this video. I hope it's helped you. If you have any comments, put them down in the bottom of the comments section, and I'll see you in the next video. Enjoy.